Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Julie Boyd. Along with my co-chair, Jane Chung, and the Asian Business Association Board of Directors, we'd like to welcome you to the ABA 44th Anniversary Gala, 2020 edition. Thank you for logging on to join us this evening. Each year, ABA honors the leaders in the Asian American business community at a very beautiful and formal gala. Unfortunately, we were not able to have this event this year due to COVID-19. Instead of a typical awards banquet, we have decided to utilize this platform so we can better understand the impact of COVID in our local businesses with the help of our keynote speaker, Dr. Paul Ong. Also, we'd like to recognize the perseverance and innovation of many businesses that not only survived, but thrived during this pandemic. We'd like to thank the people that made tonight possible. Karen Park, Teresa Wright, and myself served on the committee, led by the gala co-chair, Ben Pasquale and James Shea. And of course, I would like to thank our ABA staff, Dennis, Bianca, and V, who made this all possible. Allow me to turn the program to the gala co-chairs, Ben and James.
Great. Thank you, Chewy, for the introduction. It goes without saying that this year has been an incredibly difficult and challenging year, not only for us as individuals, but for the business community at large. All businesses had to pivot to the so-called new norm. Tonight, we are featuring 4 stories on how they pivoted during this pandemic. We strongly believe that to combat this virus, we need to seek ways to work through the virus together in a collective and collaborative effort. It is with the support of our sponsors that we are able to, and continue to, bring businesses together, learn from one another, so we can all better operate our own businesses.
Good evening. I'm James Shea, Vice Chair of ABA. Tonight, we would like to recognize the sponsor that made this wonderful virtual event possible. These sponsors' relentless dedication to helping Asian businesses in our organization throughout the pandemic is truly admirable, and we are very grateful for their support. As our community level sponsors, I'd like to thank BonLaVie, CIT Commercial Services, Copyfree, Cybertegic, DrKumo, the Garrett Group, Health-Ade Kombucha, KCAL Insurance Agencies, and KGPeco.
As well as Kids Dream, Law and Mediation Offices of Elizabeth Yang, Lee, Anav, Chung, White, Kim, Ruger, Richter, LLP, Little Saigon TV, Metropolitan Water District of Southern California, Southwest Airlines, 10 Advertising, Thong, Wong, and Lee CPAs, the Walt Disney Company.
And for our bronze level sponsor, we would like to thank American Honda Motor Companies, Northrop Grumman, and Southern California Gas Company.
We'd also like to acknowledge our silver sponsors, Southern California Edison and MUFG Union Bank, as well as our gold sponsor, US Bank. This company has made a tremendous impact with the ABA this year by hosting a roundtable discussion with young entrepreneurs, a symposium for women business pioneers, and a forum for Filipino American businesses, an event that was near and dear to my heart as a Filipino American. Despite this pandemic, they continue to do so much to support many of our ABA's programs.
And at last, we would like to recognize ABA's title sponsor, T-Mobile, for their support of our organization. We're proud to announce that T-Mobile really dedicated their staff to support their supplier diversity initiative. They established mentor protege program to support minority business enterprise. And not only that, they reached 22.8% of their total women minority business enterprise spending this year. We thank you for your generosity in your sponsorship, led by their Director of Supply Diversity, KGPeco. Thank you for being our title sponsor, T-Mobile. And thank you to the T-Mobile for their continued support of the ABA. Now, we'd like to welcome to your computer screen and the former president of ABA in San Francisco and the current California State Treasurer, Fiona Ma.
Sure.
Sure.
Sorry, obviously we're not Fiona Ma. We're still Ben and James.
Well,
Just as expected during this year, as always, there's been some difficulties. We'll hope to get her on soon enough. Okay, now please welcome Fiona Ma.
Thank you all so much for having me today. Can't get together in person. Former president of the Asian Business Association. It's great to see all of my who are in the trenches fighting and just helping small businesses survive and thrive. And so I may be having audio short, but I'm glad to be here to swear in the new board of directors. And I think we have a video. Oh, got it.
thank you, State Treasurer Ma. It's great to have your presence with us today. We now have a video greeting from the California State Assembly member Ed Chow, representing the 49th district.
Happy holidays to all of my friends at the Asian Business Association. I am Assembly Member Ed Chow. I represent the 49th Assembly District. And thank you for inviting me to be a part of your 44th annual gala event. Let me begin by extending my admiration to all of you Asian American entrepreneurs who continue to provide services and product to the people who need during this pandemic. As we know, this is one of the worst pandemics in the last 100 years. And yet, I want to applaud all of you for your perseverance and tenacity, and you continue to provide those services to people who rely on them. And it is also during these challenging times that we rise above and we think out of the box and be innovative. And tonight, we're going to be hearing 4 of these entrepreneurs who exemplify just that. And I'm very glad to see that one of the 4 is my constituent entrepreneur, Elizabeth Yang. So congratulations to all of you. And as we re-enter this economic recovery period, I want to share with you that the legislature is going to do everything it can to help California to move forward. I look forward to continue working with all of you, and I want to also welcome the incoming officers and board of directors, and I want to thank you for your service, as well as the outgoing board of directors and officers. And I look forward to continuing to work with all of you. So with that, happy holidays again, and thank you for having me.
Thank you, Assembly Member Ed Chow. And I want to thank everybody for bearing with us. It's not easy to conduct a gala virtually this year. This is the first time ABA has ever done this, and I hope this will be the last time. In the future years, we hope to see you in person. Now, I'd like to remind everyone that we have a digital silent auction, which is open until tomorrow, Friday at 5 p.m. There are deluxe travel accommodation, virtual experiences, local trip, and more up for grabs that you can't miss. Your bid will help you get a prize for ABA. My advice, stay tuned on your computer or smart TV for the program, and please on your phone. Also, make sure to stick around until the very end for an exciting way to choose the raffle for a chance to win a 65-inch smart TV. Don't forget, you must be present to win.
Yes, very exciting. Good luck to all of those for the raffle. And now we'd like to turn the program to our MC for this evening, Ms. Charlene Shen. Is a talented news anchor, manager, and teaching professional. Charlene is a former news anchor with TVB and Channel 18. Is currently a senior media executive at Skylink TV. Please welcome Ms. Charlene Shen.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for inviting me to be the MC to celebrate ABA 44th Anniversary Gala. I'm very, very lucky to be involved with so many great organizations like this one that makes a positive impact and support the local economy to our community. I also remind everyone about the photo contest on Instagram. Just post your best work from home photo and tag us at ABA Los Angeles and use the hashtag ABA44Gala. While you're there, like your favorite photos. The photo with the most likes will win a round-trip international Southwest airline ticket. We also encourage you to use the chat box, which is at the bottom. While many organizations may hush the crowd in the 500 in-person banquet, tonight you can be as loud as you want in the chat box. So here's a rundown of what's going to happen or take place this evening. First, we're going to have our keynote speaker, Professor Paul on. He will be talking about impact of COVID in the Asian American community. Then we have featuring for business that survived and thrived in this pandemic. Thank 2020 board directors and advisory council. Special recognition for 4 board members that's terming out. Announcements of the winners of the Instagram photo contest. Do you remember what's the hashtag for it? And then we have installation for 2021 ABA board directors. Don't forget, we still have the raffle of the 65-inch smart TV. Don't forget what James just said a little bit earlier. You must be present to win. Save some of the time for you to network with each other at the very end. So don't forget to stick around to say hi to one another back at your virtual table. Allow me to introduce you the keynote speaker. Dr. Paul On is a research professor at UCLA, Luskin School of Public Affairs, and the director of Center of Neighborhood Knowledge. He has done research on the labor market status of minorities and immigrants, displaced high-tech workers, and environmental justice. He's currently engaged in several projects, including analysis of the relationship between sustainability and equity, the racial wealth gap, and the role of urban structures on the reproduction and inequality. His recent studies observe a surging unemployment rate and racism against Asian Americans. Please welcome Dr. Paul On.
Okay, good evening. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Charlene. I'm honored and privileged to present tonight. I am so happy to hear that so many of you are doing well. Unfortunately, that's not the case for many Asian American businesses. So I want to talk a little bit about the research we've been doing related to the economic impact on Asian Americans because of the pandemic. Next slide, please. So this is just an outline of the presentation. We will talk briefly about COVID-19 in terms of the trend. Then we will talk about the economic impacts on Asian Americans. And then finally look at what it means in terms of the pandemic impact. And I have a few concluding remarks. Next slide, please. Many of you have already seen this. It's a time trend week by week of both COVID-19 infections and COVID deaths. And we are unfortunately headed into another wave of infections and death. And so the impacts we've seen will continue into the rest of this year and next year. Next slide, please. And one way I think about the impact on Asian Americans is looking at a standard labor market indicator. And this is the unemployment rate. And we have two graphs. One is the orange graph is unemployment rate of Asian Americans. The blue graph is the non-Hispanic white unemployment. And what you see at the beginning of the year is fairly low and comparable unemployment. That unemployment jumped, as you all know, during the months of April, March and April. And it has slowly declined. But what you notice is that the decline, the recovery for Asian Americans have not been as robust as non-Hispanic whites. Next slide, please. And we also see that in terms of impact on businesses. And a quick way to look at it is the three right bars. The orange one is Asian Americans, and the blue ones are non-Hispanic whites. What we see is that the number of businesses that are still operating declined dramatically as we headed into the pandemic. Next slide, please. Another way to look at this is look at pedestrian traffic to businesses in various neighborhoods. This is part of our study using big data. We're using smartphone location data to track traffic, pedestrian traffic to businesses in Chinatown as far as the rest of the county. And this is taking out chain stores. So we're just looking at the smaller stores, the ones that are owned, by mom and pop and so forth. And so what you see, beginning the graph is January, is that the impact of pandemic started earlier on restaurants here in Los Angeles. And that goes with other data for New York as well as San Francisco, that because of the xenophobic discrimination, many people started avoiding Chinatown, Chinese restaurants, because they thought that we were vectors in terms of the disease. When we got into the lockdown, you could clearly see the steep decline over a very short time period in terms of traffic to businesses. What happened in Chinatown was that decline was much steeper. Following the lockdown, there's been somewhat of a slow recovery. But in Chinatown, we do not see the same type of recovery we've seen for Los Angeles County as a whole. Next slide, please. And this is looking at who currently are the self-employed. Here, this is for the nation as a whole. And these are people who are still operating during the months of August through October. And what we see is the orange bar is that Asian American businesses compared to non-Hispanic whites are overrepresented at the two ends of the spectrum in terms of educational attainment. What you see is that Asian Americans are much more likely to have less education, high school or less, and also more likely to have education in the bachelor, master's level, particularly the master's level. The bottom end is most likely immigrants. The immigrants were refugees, immigrants with less education. Next slide, please. And we also see a systematic difference in terms of income in 2019 before the pandemic. What you see is among Asian American businesses is that they tend to be more concentrated at the two ends, at the low income end and the high income end, relative to non-Hispanic whites. Next slide, please. And what this means is that one of the ways we try to track impact is not just how many businesses are closed, but looking at the financial hardships that they're facing. And what we have in front of us are graphs in terms of the financial hardships. We measure, for example, their inability to meet the monthly home expenses, paying for food, paying for shelter, paying for other necessities. And among Asian American business owners, they're much likely to face these fiscal problems. And what's particularly disturbing is the last two bars. So the last two bars looks at households that are not able to be current on their rent or on the mortgage for their homes and for their apartments. Asians are twice as likely to be in financial problems in terms of not being able to pay rent or paying their mortgage. Again, this is just among the self-employed, the business sector. Next graph, please. And one of the things is that we see systematic differences in who is most likely to suffer this hardship in terms of Asian American businesses. So this graph is only Asian American businesses, but it's broken down by education and broken down by previous pre-pandemic income. What you see is that the economic hardship are particularly pronounced for those who are less educated and those who are lower income. These are the businesses that tend to be small. They tend to be the businesses that are mom and pop. They tend to be the restaurants and food tables. Next slide, please. And then we also see, I have to look, so, excuse me, the screen's very small for me to look at, so I have to look carefully. Clearly, all businesses are suffering. And the government, in many ways, have been good about stepping in to provide relief. And so one of the ways of providing relief is through the payroll protection program. These are loans given to small businesses to cover their payroll, to pay their workers. It is meant to keep the businesses running and keep the workers paid. And so this is from analysis that we did from the PPP. I'm sure many of you already heard that the PPP have already two major flaws. There's extensive fraud. That is, those who are not really running businesses and taking money under the pretense that they're helping workers. There's also the problem that bigger businesses are taking a huge share of the loans. The best estimate is 5% of all applicants. These are the big businesses, take about half of the loan. So we already know there are imperfections in the PPP. Our analysis looks at whether or not the flows, the income, the loans are going to Asian American neighborhoods. And the answer is no. Unfortunately, Asian American neighborhoods such as Chinatown, Koreatown, these other enclaves, big parts of the San Gabriel Valley, they are receiving far less funds in terms of protecting their workers, their payrolls, and keeping business alive. So we have a problem of bad impact, heavy impact on Asian businesses. We see that many of them are struggling financially, they're having hardships, and they're receiving less help from the government. Next slide, please. So what should we be doing? What should we be thinking about? Clearly, I think we should support the next stimulus bill. But in doing so, we have to make sure that the bill is implemented in a way that the money really reaches those who are hurt. It needs to reach the Asian American businesses that are suffering now. And in order to make this happen, that's the last recommendation, it is important for all of us to express our voice in the policy and political arena. And I think the ABA has been very effective in terms of representing Asian American businesses, and it is critical to participate right now in that debate about relief from the pandemic, but going forward, when we go into recovery, we have a massive problem and crisis to solve. Now, how do we maintain the business base for Asian Americans? That's a huge challenge. And I welcome your participation in helping in promoting sound public policy that helps Asian American businesses. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, Dr. On. I really didn't realize how much COVID has impacted our community. Thank you again for your presentation. Everyone, please express your gratitude and thanks to Dr. On and his work through the chat feature on the website. While COVID impacted the way we do business, here are a few examples of how businesses have pivoted during the pandemic. First, we're featuring Romeo Chocolates. Romeo Chocolate is a retail store located in the city of Long Beach, California. As many as you know, the retail industry is one of the hardest hit segments affected by COVID. Ann Taylor, JCPenney, Sizzlers, California Pizza Kitchen, Soup Plantation, even Chuck E. Cheese had all failed for bankruptcy protection. Here's a story for Romeo Chocolates.
I'm Romeo Garcia, chef and CEO of Romeo Chocolates and Wine Bar. When COVID first hit, some of the struggles that we had to endure is first and foremost ensuring that our team was safe and healthy. For many of us, we didn't know all the information that was out there regarding the pandemic. So we had to educate ourselves and reach out to community resources, the health department, the city of Long Beach, and make sure that we were fully aware of how to operate safely. Secondly, some of the very concrete challenges was that a significant drop of revenue happened when COVID first hit. We actually had to close our door and just do a reassessment and make sure that our team felt comfortable serving our guests and making sure that we had a procedure to make sure that we were also getting tested regularly. We decided that since we had distribution channels and vendors, we turned into a pop-up pantry or essentially a bodega. And so folks weren't able to just pick up chocolates or wine, but they could grab a bag of pasta or some rice or some bread or some eggs. That way they had access to some really hard to find materials when the pandemic first hit. We're happy to report in this last iteration that we have now, we have opened up an outdoor parklet and we've nicknamed them the chocolate cabanas. They're not made out of chocolate, but it's an opportunity for folks to have dessert out here safely, have a glass of wine or have some coffee and just really enjoy the ambiance of our beautiful downtown. My advice to other entrepreneurs is twofold. One, breathe. This is going to be a hard time. We're all trying to pivot together. We're all trying to adjust together, and we don't have all the answers. My second piece of advice is to restore what your root purpose is for why you became an entrepreneur. For instance, my root purpose is centered around social justice. And so not only because of the conditions of the pandemic, but also with what's going on with social uprisings as well, and ensuring that we're advocating for equity and social justice, that has allowed us to really center our activities, center our products, center our framework and how we serve our guests around making sure we create an environment that's welcoming, inclusive, and celebrating social justice.
Romeo, I totally agree with you. We all need to take a minute just to breathe. I also agree that we should embrace and celebrate social justice. Show your love for Romeo. He's in the room tonight. Chat him up using the chat feature. You can also pick up something to go from his store. Our next featured business is the Law and Mediation Office of Elizabeth Yang. They specialize in intellectual property law, business law, family law, and estate planning. But it seems like one of these areas of practice would be in high demand during the shelter-in-place order. Let's watch this video.
My name is Elizabeth Yang, and I'm the owner of the Law and Mediation Offices of Elizabeth Yang. We specialize in IP law, family law, business law, and estate planning. I've been an attorney for over 13 years now, but the Law and Mediation Offices of Elizabeth Yang has been in operations for just 3 years. Our practice, one of our biggest areas of expertise is family law. So during COVID, we got really busy in family law because a number of divorces, domestic violence cases, family law cases became on the rise. And so we've been super busy. We've had to hire new attorneys and paralegals in order to handle the workload. First few months of the pandemic, there was a stay-at-home order, so none of my employees could come into the office to work. My employees were feeling depressed. You know, we started implementing like weekly Zoom meetings, but almost every single Zoom meeting, one of the employees would be breaking down and crying and sharing with us how, you know, lonely they were when quarantined at home. You know, some of my employees live alone. And on top of that, the courts were closed, so we couldn't have any court hearings. None of our matters could be heard by a judge or clients, especially those who have like child custody cases. They were panicking, you know, they were like, I need to like figure out what to do with my kids. And so there was a lot of arguments and disputes, but we couldn't go to court because the courts were closed. And then when it finally opened on June 22nd, there was like a mad rush. And I have a feeling all the courts and law firms are going to keep doing catch up for a few months. From this experience, my advice for other business owners and entrepreneurs is to just be as adaptable and open-minded as possible, not be attached to how a business should look like. You know, when I started off my law practice, my main area of expertise was actually intellectual property due to my engineering background. I did not practice family law during that time. And it wasn't until I went through my own personal divorce that lasted 4 years long that I ended up pivoting into the area of family law, you know, but it wasn't like something that I had planned for in the beginning when I opened my business. And during this pandemic, you know, they say like challenges in life are blessings in disguise. So during this COVID pandemic, it's caused a lot of businesses to shift and create areas that they never even worked in the past. You know, I have a friend who owns an office supply store, and now they sell PPE and masks, and they're doing like multi-million-dollar sales. They're just selling way more than like stationery and office equipment. You know, and a lot of other restaurants and businesses are also shifting and doing way better than before the pandemic. So I think the most important is just to be adaptable, open-minded, and not be attached to how the business should look like.
So be adaptable and open-minded. Challenge in life is a blessing in disguise. Even though I'm the MC for tonight, but it feels like I'm also a student. Thank you so much for sharing your story, Elizabeth. And do not forget to express your compliments for Elizabeth during the chat feature. And at this time, we would like to announce the winner of the photo contest. Do you guys still remember what was the photo contest? The contest is for you to post a picture of your best work from home attire. Winner will win a round trip international Southwest airline tickets. So, Will, can we show a few pictures of the honorable mentions? We actually have a winner. The winner is, congratulations to Mr. David Wang. Once again, David Wang, ABA will DM you on Instagram to receive your round trip ticket. Our next business story is about a company that's no stranger to ABA. Former ABA chair Amanda Ma, founder of Innovative Marketing Group, really had to do something as in-person function just stopped. Please take a look of her story.
My name is Amanda Ma. I'm the CEO of Innovative Marketing Group, and we're an experienced agency based in Los Angeles. What our company specialized in was live events. It's all about in-person, human-to-human contact. Prior to COVID, we were actually just in DC finishing off a very high-profile event and wrapping up another event for TikTok. We're about to go to South by Southwest. And then COVID hit, and then it reset to 0. We were thinking, how do we pivot? It was extremely difficult. First of all, we got certified in virtual event and meeting management because I was trying to think about a solution. What can we provide to our clients? Because they obviously need the live events, and now that we can't do that. So we're thinking, okay, the next, in case COVID doesn't end soon, we need to provide a solution for them. So that's exactly what we did. The team did a lot of research on different virtual platforms. We kind of brought the team up to speed and then make sure we're completely ready to go. That way, when our market is ready or when our client's ready, we are ready for them. One of the unique innovations we came up with during COVID was Events to Go Kit. These are supposed to be an immersive experience in addition to the virtual events, that it could be paired so that prior to the event, people actually receive these Events to Go kit. We call it surprise and delight. We love doing that. So we still make sure we do that even with virtual events. Okay. And the second way we pivoted was doing virtual events, but such as conferences, galas, grand openings. I never knew we could do grand opening virtually, but we've done it. And when I think back about what advice to give to other entrepreneurs, I really have to think back to April, what happened to us as a company. And I'm thankful that I have an amazing team. I think that was crucial that the whole team was in this together. It was a testament of time. Like, can we thrive through this period of time that's extremely hard and extremely difficult? In the 14 years that I've been in business, is probably the most difficult times. Secondly, I would say about the community, right? So I also belong to a few entrepreneur organizations, and during COVID, it really helped me to speak to other entrepreneurs as well. And I also wanted to make sure we leverage our talent and resources to provide resources to them. So what we did at the agency is we put together really great speakers with different topics and provided them with knowledge that they need to also get through this period of time. And then thirdly, just making sure you guys try new things. Don't be scared that one doesn't work. We definitely did that because we tried different things, different ideas, got rejected. We move on to the next idea until we hit our golden nugget, but just keep trying. You will get there.
Keep trying. You will get there. We will all get there eventually. By the way, I have heard of food to go. It's the first time I heard of event to go. Very, very innovative. I've summarized 2 bullet points for you from this video. So take out your pen and notebook, write down some notes. First is stay engaged in the community and other entrepreneurs. Next one is, as what I said earlier, keep trying new things. Got it. Very encouraging. Thank you so very much, Amanda. And do not forget, chat her up in the chat box, everyone. Chat her up. Our last feature story is STEM, S-T-E-M, Center USA, a hands-on, in-person, high-energy K-12 program on how science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, which stands for STEM, works. Some of you may remember them from the TV show Shark Tank from 2015. Well, it took a long time for teachers to adapt to distance teaching. That's how STEM Center USA has survived and thrived during this pandemic.
My name is Lavanya, and I'm one of the co-founders of STEM Center USA. My sister Melissa and I started this company to inspire the next generation of STEM leaders. Our company is focused on K-12 hands-on learning, where students get to come into the center to design, code, and build robots. As a hands-on program, the center of everything we do has been historically based on in-person, high-energy experiences. So when the pandemic hit, we had to figure out how we could continue offering engaging experiences, not in person. When our brick-and-mortar center doors closed, our revenue stopped. Our school partners paused their programs. We received zero leniency on rent. Our employees were patient, but in search of work. We reinvented what our traditional summer camps would look like and pivoted to a virtual format. We reached over 1,000 students across the country in kindergarten through 12th grade. through coding classes, robotics classes, virtual reality options, and so much more. In addition to that, we reopened the doors to both of our locations with COVID-19 policies in place. We created custom DIY kits that we could ship out to families and kids that were craving that hands-on learning. They would receive these kits and then be able to follow classes and tutorials virtually with our instructors. Our advice to others would be to continually evaluate where you and your company are at. Try out different things. Don't wait for a perfect solution because it's never coming. COVID taught us what adapting really meant, and it forced us to always have multiple plans, multiple scenarios, have short-term and long-term thinking to see how you're going to be able to get through an event like this.
Hey, those DIY kits look so much fun. You know what? I think I need to order those for my nieces and nephews. As a matter of fact, you know what? I'm going to order a whole bunch for myself. Hand-eye coordination, you know how important that is when we're in the pandemic? Again, adapt multiple plans, both short-term and long-term. Nice takeaways. Show your appreciation for Stan Center using the chat feature. You don't need to be in the Claremont area anymore to sign up for their classes. You can now access them anywhere. This would be a great gift for you, your niece, your nephews, your whole family. STEM classes. Now I would like to take a minute to acknowledge and thank the leaders of the 2020 Asian Business Association Board Director and Advisory Council. Thank you all so very much for your service. It must have been very difficult to run your company and stay engaged with the community. And do you know, actually serving the board of ABA has limits, term limits to be exact. The 4 individuals who are terming out not only served on the board for 6 years, they connected many members, led many committees, fundraised, and also served as chair of the association during the term. They are Jay Chun, Chewy Jane, Karen Park, and Jim Song. Thank you for your service and leadership with ABA. Please watch this short video. And don't forget to chat at them and show your support in the chat box. They are Jay, Chewy, Karen, and Jim. As the 2020 Board of Directors term comes to an end, we need to install the 2021 Board Directors to take oath of the office and to swear in ceremony. Please welcome back California State Treasurer, Ms. Fiona Ma, to swear in your 2021 ABA Board of Directors.
All right, are you all ready to be sworn in? Okay, so please raise your right hand. And in the presence of honored guests and members here assembled, as the 2021 Asian Business Association Board of Director, you agree to fulfill your role as a director and its responsibility that includes to uphold the bylaws, policies, operations, and commitment to attend board meetings. I do. To honor the interests of the organization before your own personal interest. To connect and develop businesses across all Asian Pacific American communities. To refer business opportunities to other members of the ABA whenever possible. To honor confidentiality where appropriate. And continue to contribute your time, energy, and money when called upon. If all of those are I do's, with the power invested in me and the state of California, you are duly installed as a 2021 Board of Directors of the Asian Business Associations. Congratulations.
Congratulations to the leadership for 2021. Before we welcome ABA Executive Director to close out this gala, please do not forget to place your bid in the silent auction. Auction will close tomorrow at 5 p.m. It's time for what you are waiting for, raffle for the 65-inch smart TV. Are you registered for tonight's gala? You were automatically entered into this amazing race. There are also prizes for second through fifth place.
Hey everyone, my name is Will. I'm running the stream on the back end, and I'm going to commentate this race for you guys. So everybody here at the event has one marble associated with them, and we're going to watch them all basically go through this course. So ready? Here we go. All right, so the first thing is they have to go to this funnel, right? So we're gonna see who's gonna be first here. Usually what happens is a couple people will bump each other, and that's how you get faster through this funnel. But otherwise you have to slowly loop around here. It looks like right now, oh, there's a big fight for first. And we're gonna zoom in a little bit as soon as the first one goes through there. So looks like now we have Gloria in the lead and everybody coming in through behind her. But there's lots of opportunities to catch up. And if you go too fast through this section, then you might fall out, and then that'll just make you lose. So we'll see what happens here. Gloria's still in the lead here. Cindy right behind her, and then the rest of the train at that point. So we got the bumps over here. Let's see how that goes through. And everybody gets blocked right there. So a few people got blocked, it's getting closer. We got 3 more blockers, and that's going to tell us how the things are going. And you can see that already the leaderboard changed a lot. Well, a little bit. Looks like Gloria's in first again. Wow, it's her race. So far, at least. She's cleared the second of the 3 blockers, but unfortunately has fallen out of first place now until now again. And so the last obstacle will be this multiple funnel configuration thing. So whichever marble happens to find a hole first will win. So let's see who that's going to be. All right, it looks like our winner is Andy Du. So 2nd through 5th, you see it's Lois, Teresa, Melissa, and Michael. And another fun thing to do is you can see who's going to be last here. You can see all of the marbles are still trying to fall through. Who is it going to be? It's between Lauren Sunny and Brian Butts for last in this race. Who's going to fall into a circle like a little bit earlier, or are we going to just do a slow spiral? Oh, there we go. So now it's Sunny versus Brian for last place. And if they don't finish in 30 seconds, then they get a DNF. But I don't think that's going to happen. So it looks like last is Sunny to close out this race. And we'll just see. There it is. So Andy Du is the winner today. Okay, we're going to take it back to Charlene.
Congratulations to our winner, Andy. ABA staff will email you for your digital prizes. Now, the moment you're waiting for. Please welcome ABA's Executive Director, Mr. Dennis Wong, to close out the 44th Anniversary Gala.
First, let me start by thanking you, Charlene Shen. Let us acknowledge you. We know there's a lot of program we have to get through tonight. We want to thank you for keeping us on pace and moving us along. We also want to acknowledge our gratitude for Dr. Paul Ong. Thank you for your much needed research in what you're doing. Also tonight, behind the scenes, a couple of people I'd like to acknowledge. Mr. Will Chen from Will.Tech. Please look him up. He's the one who's kind of teching us and putting all these things together. But of course, your dependable ABA staff, Bianca C. and Ning Ong. ABA started this year with a live planning retreat among the Board of Director and Advisory Council. We hosted New Year's Mixer and Young Entrepreneur Forum with nearly 100 people in our audience live. But a week later, no more in-person events. We too had to transition our programs and meetings to go virtual, including our business mixer and networking functions. And you know how funky that becomes sometimes, but we're still doing that right now. Since then, we quickly got crucial information about PPP and EIDL loans, and assisted many members in securing the PPP loan, and when it was challenging to get. So we're a special thank you to Mr. King Wong for your help in securing PPP loan for many of our members. Now, this year, ABA hosted 25 functions. That's really a record for us. Topic ranging from future-proof your business, putting the social back in social distancing, doing business with public agency, leveraging digital marketing to survive COVID, business from home, how we can lead remotely. We also have our annual Women Business Pioneer Symposium, just to name a few. To date, we have over 900 people that attended our function this year. That's not including tonight. We also had a few thousand people watch our YouTube because we recorded on there, so they play back from there as well. So thank you. It's kind of nice to know that it's much needed to know. Here's what we planned for 2021. We have a business forecasting event that we're going to start off the year. We're going to have a how small business hire and build their staff. We know the recovery is coming. Also, we're going to still continue some of our traditional signature program from the Young Entrepreneur event, the in-person live golf tournament, Women Business Pioneer Symposium. We're also coming up with some new ones. Tax tips, the business of cannabis, and we want to feature South Asian entrepreneurs. So if you have a topic you want us to explore, please let us know, or if you want to speak at the event, let us know as well. We're always different ways of featuring stories and let our members be the expert to share the knowledge with one another. That's why Asian American owned businesses need a platform to work together during COVID. We need a place to share the best practices to help each other grow. This is why ABA continues to host so many functions that bring businesses together. If you know anyone that would like to join the ABA, please have them go to abala.org/join. And if you're in a position to support what we do, bringing businesses together, make your contributions at abala.org/donate. Thank you for your contributions by supporting us to be here this evening to support the Asian Business Association. Now, we like to go back to the networking mode with everybody here. Feel free to visit one another or just hang out at your table to talk to some full friends. Don't forget, you can also visit different floors, going up and down on the elevator on your left-hand side of the screen. On behalf of the board and the staff, we want to wish you happy holidays. Thank you and good night.